Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Today, I want to talk to you about 10 things to help you maximize your results in your workouts, your nutrition. And that's really going to help you break past those plateaus or maybe frustrations, because some of you, maybe you've started your fitness nutrition journey and you're stuck, which is normal. It's part of the process. And so today I want to give you 10 things that over the years of working with our many clients, of at this point over 7,000 clients that my team and I have helped them lose over 150,000 pounds. Some of the things that are maybe more well known and the other things that maybe you're not. But first, I think it's really important that we've been talking through some of the different stories and subjects of the first few episodes, in which, for those of you, if you're joining for the first time, always go back to episode 1, listen first to understand really how to get maximum benefit out of the lessons that I'm teaching here in this podcast. But I think one of the big things is also to understand the story of where Fit Body Bootcamp Arizona, how this started. And, for those of you that heard the first episode, that's really my passion for fitness started as being an overweight kid in high school. And long story short, started getting into exercise, fitness, nutrition, and got in shape myself, got my first personal training certification as soon as I graduated from high school, joined the Army, was a trainer through college, and then after college, actually got out of training for a bit and went into medical sales. I was working for a company that did the genetic testing for hereditary cancer syndromes. Specifically, I was part of the colon cancer team. And some of you guys might have heard of this, or probably the more well-known version of this is for the breast and ovarian cancer syndromes, or people call it BRCA. So I worked for the company that did the genetic testing for this, and my job was to basically educate doctors, and more specifically on the hereditary colon cancer side of things, and who would need genetic testing to screen for some of these syndromes and who would not, and furthermore of what to do and how to manage it. Anyways, went through this. This was something that I saw it was cool. It was interesting. I was on the front line, being able to take some of the things I learned and being able to work and actually educate some physicians on this when this was still a relatively newer thing. And then the company went through and did a layoff and decided that there was a buyout of one of the divisions that I was part of, and gave me the option of either relocate out of state or find another job. And so I remember being in this situation, just thinking, I am never going to be in this spot again. This whole thing made it sound like they were doing this. They hired us on to do this huge expansion and did this whole 180, and just thinking how that just rocked me, and just feeling completely vulnerable, and thought, you know what, I need to follow my heart. And I've had this passion and this idea of starting up, falling back on my passion of personal training and turning my garage into a gym, and just getting, core group of clients going, and how to make that happen. And so with that, that's what's really started. It started as in January of 2014. It was 4 ladies from my church that we ended up offering them a deal that they get to be my guinea pigs of group training. And I would give them a lifetime membership to, really commit to the process, get amazing results. And in January 2014, ended up starting with our very first body transformation challenge, 12-week body transformation challenge in Gilbert, Arizona. And that core group of people, the winner, his name is Jeff, ended up losing 50 pounds in that 12-week period of time. And that's really what led to what is now 8 locations and the thousands of clients that my team and I have helped. And here's some lessons learned. And this is one of the things that, we have so often clients that'll come and say, you know what, I've been working so hard, I'm following the plan, and I'm not seeing results. My nutrition is dialed in. I am doing everything that you're telling me to do, and I've hit a wall. Well, friends, I'm here to tell you that that is completely normal. And if you are at that point, then this message is for you. And I think first you have to understand that your body is a highly adaptive machine. That if you keep doing the same thing, your body is going to adapt and it's going to stop responding. So you have to realize that with your nutrition and your fitness, to keep pushing your body to the next level, you need to keep doing things that's going to cause it to respond differently. Okay, so that's really where these are the 10 tactics that I want to give you that maybe your coach or whoever is not right now, to add these into your routine. First things I want to hit on, the first 5 are on the workout side, and then we'll come to the nutrition afterwards. But one of the first things, and this is where I see a lot of people just get themselves stuck, and it's understanding progressive overload. Okay, so realize that you get stronger, you get faster by putting an increased stress on your body. And where I see a lot of clients that will get stuck is that they just will keep doing the same weight. They keep doing an exercise for the same amount of time. And so really, progressive overload, what this means, it's a training tactic that every single workout, you are increasing the weight, the resistance, you're increasing the time under tension, you're increasing your speed. You are finding some variable to make it harder than it was the last time. And this is one of the big things to make sure that you start doing this during your workouts. If you're not, instead of going for that same pair of 15, 20, 30 pound dumbbells or whatever it is, make sure you're going for that next heavier weight. Every single time, try to do that. Or if you're used to doing 10 reps, you're going for 15 reps. If you're, for example, maybe it's a plank or whatever it is, maybe you're used to holding it for 30 seconds, hold it for a minute, or put a 45-pound plate on your back. Okay, find ways that everything that you're doing to do a little bit more every single workout. Okay, and that goes to point number 2, which is time under tension. This is another thing that I see that so many people hold themselves back. And it's really what this means is that when you're doing time under tension, just picture this just to say, for example, I'm doing a push-up, okay? So if you're doing a push-up and you rest at the top for that split second and come back down and you pause at the top, well, you're releasing tension off of the muscles for that split second that you're pausing, okay? And during that split second, you're allowing your body to recover. And so what you want to do is that you're constantly moving and doing it in a way where that you are not giving that muscle that split second of recovery. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. But one of the key things just to remember is don't do a split second rest in between every single one of your reps. Remember that you want to keep that muscle working and then push it to exhaustion, okay? So that goes to really the third thing for your workouts is your periodization. And so what this is for anyone that goes through and gets their personal training certification, you'll understand this, but for many of our clients that may be watching this, your periodization is really what it means is that you are changing up your training protocols. And so that if you keep doing the same thing, as I said earlier, your body adapts and it stops responding. And so one of the ways that you can do this is going through different phases. So maybe you're doing an endurance phase, all right, that you're going to be doing something of reps somewhere of the 15 to 30 rep range, all right, that you're going lighter weight, higher reps, you're feeling that deep burn. Okay, then you're doing that, and a standard periodization could be anywhere from as short as 4 weeks up to 8 weeks. So essentially, just hear what I just said. But every 2 months, you're wanting to switch it up. And otherwise, if you're not, then your body adapts and you're going to start hitting that plateau. Okay, so just remember that a standard periodization, and especially what we do with a lot of our clients, is about every 4 to 8 weeks, we're going to go through different phases. Anyways, so some of the things that you can do with this is, again, changing up your reps. Some of the other things is adding in different areas of holds of, okay, maybe again, let's use the example of a push-up. Instead of going all the way up, maybe you're only going halfway up and you pause there where you're keeping tension there, and then going down, pausing for a split second, but you're keeping tension on that muscle the entire time and going slower. And that goes into another idea of what you can do with this is your range of motion. If you are not going through the full range of motion, but you're keeping tension on that muscle, you can hit the muscle from a different angle, all right? And therefore, you're stressing it in a different way. And so these are all things that you can do that are going to make an impact. Now, even with this, you can also have something where you are doing too much and eventually overtraining. Because again, just think about your body like a highly tuned sports car. Well, if you're driving it and you're pushing it, but you're not doing the maintenance, eventually it's going to break down and have issues. Your body is very much the same way. And same thing, if you look at it, if you're doing hard workouts, this is where the importance of having a deload phase. And so what this is basically it's taking a structured time off. It's taking where maybe it's something like, sometimes I recommend to people just take a week off from doing your any type of strength training. Go do yoga, focus on stretching, focus on doing something just to allow your body to rest and recover. And, this is something else to look at, of adding one of these in, adding in a week of recovery, or maybe it's all you're doing is just yoga for a week and adding that in about every 4 months or so. Because if you are not giving your body that chance to recover, it's just like that car. Eventually, if you're not doing the maintenance, it's going to break down, and you don't want that to happen. All right, now on the complete other side of this, okay, is how can you get even better results? And especially if you have goals of getting super lean. And when I say super lean, I mean like for women getting under 16% body fat, for men down into the single digits. And sometimes you have to start doing more advanced extreme tactics. Okay, and and this is where something of doing 2 workouts a day and splitting it up. And what I mean by this is specifically doing your strength training at one part of the day, and then doing a HIIT cardio workout on another part of the day. Now, it's very important on this because I see a lot of people can also get themselves in trouble. It's very important. You are never doing a strength training session 2 times in a day. All right, this is something where, again, it goes back to what we said. You can start overtraining and doing different things. But however, if you're doing strength training on one part of the day and then adding in a cardio session on the other end of the day, or however you switch it up, maybe you do the cardio in the morning, your strength at night, these are other advanced techniques that you can use to see better results. Okay. All right. So there you go. Add those in for your workouts. Next thing, for your nutrition, I want to give you 5 more tips, things that are going to help you take your results to the next level. Okay. So one of the first things, first and foremost, is for weight loss. Okay. Weight loss, you want to focus on minimizing your insulin response. So insulin is the hormone produced by your pancreas, and it is the hormone that basically takes carbs, which once you eat it is converted to glucose, and insulin drives that glucose into your cells to either be used as fuel, to be stored as glycogen, or to be stored as fat. Okay, so here's the thing. Insulin is something what's called an anabolic hormone, meaning that it is there to build. Whereas if you think about cortisol as your stress hormone, as a catabolic hormone where it breaks down. Okay, so here's the thing. Insulin can be very good, but too much is what causes issues. And so especially if your goal is losing weight, you want to minimize the insulin responses that you're having. Okay, and so part of this is first, have your carbs earlier in the day. All right, especially this is what we tell for a lot of clients. Carbs are not evil. Carbs do not make you fat, or they do not make you fat. It's too much of whether it's carbs, protein, fats, or whatever it is. But also with insulin, we want to time your insulin response of getting that earlier in the day so you're having that fuel to use throughout the day. And also, if you're having your carbs, trying to time that around the times of when you are working out, okay? Another big thing is minimizing your insulin response at night. This is something where I see a lot of people get themselves in the trouble. They say, I'm eating healthy, I've got my meals dialed in, but at dinner, what they're doing is they're having a big bowl, even if it's like, brown rice or sweet potatoes, they're having a high carb meal, even if it's healthy, at night. And so what happens is that you have this big insulin response. And then you now have all this glucose that's flowing through your body at the time of day when you're burning the least amount of fuel. And so what happens is that some of that gets stored as fat. So as a general rule of thumb, avoid high carb meals at night. Okay. All right. Now, point number 2 is making sure that protein is the foundation of every single meal. I see so many people that, they do not get enough protein. And you have to understand that your body is made of protein and fat, okay? And it uses carbs or glucose as your fuel source. So just realize as you're working out, you need to make sure you're getting ample amounts of protein. And as a general rule of thumb that I always try to explain to our clients is that make sure for every single meal that you are getting that the foundation of that meal is a protein. You're always having a protein with every single meal. Okay. Now, the other thing, just as a general rule of thumb of how much should you be taking in, is taking in 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight. What this means is that you are subtracting your fat weight and whatever your lean body weight is minus your fat. So let's just say if you're 200 pounds and you have 30 pounds of fat, then 170 pounds is your lean body weight. All right, so then you'd want to be taking in 170 grams of protein. So use that as your rule of thumb. All right, now, as we said earlier, one of the next things is making sure having those carbs earlier around your workouts. That's going to be super, super important. All right, now another thing is cycling with doing low and high carb. Now, this is something else where a lot of people get themselves into trouble is they do long-term caloric restriction, long-term low carb. And again, you have to realize if you're doing this, your body is eventually going to adapt. It's going to stop responding. So we're not getting enough fuel. And so what it starts doing is breaking down muscle and trying to preserve fats. Okay, so this is where, just like what we said with your workouts, where you want to go through and do a deload phase, just like your nutrition, you want to do a similar thing. There are periods that you need to come out of doing a diet, and these are, just look at it as a deload phase, or what's also called as a reverse diet, for a period of 4 weeks or so. And you're adding in higher amounts of carbs, getting it, instead of being in a caloric deficit, taking your calories back up. Really the strategy with how you want to do this is adding about 100 calories per week of carbs until you see that you're actually gaining weight. Maintain that, and then do that for a period of 2 to 4 weeks once you get to that maintenance level. And then you're going to start decreasing your carbs once again. And this tricks your body into being able to see, hey, we're not starving. It gets your metabolism back up, and you're going to see results. You're going to see that fat start coming off of you again. And oftentimes when you do this, you can actually start losing fat as you're increasing your carbs, okay? Now, one of the last things, and this is just a lifestyle thing that I personally try to teach our clients, is the concept of a cheat meal once per week. Now, I believe that if I tell you can never have the foods you love, pizza, ice cream, maybe it's some Italian food, some breadsticks, maybe it's having a glass of wine, couple beers, whatever your thing is. Maybe it's a pizookie, right? Have you ever seen those things? These are probably the most calorically dense foods I've ever seen at these Italian places. It's a cookie that's baked in a metal or an iron skillet with a scoop of ice cream on top. That there's probably like 2,000 calories in one of these things if you ate the whole thing in one sitting. But however, this is something to realize, that if you save this for one meal and you eat that entire thing in one sitting, that your body can only absorb so much in one meal. And so just understanding that if you live by the concept of having one cheat meal per week, and you want to go out and have a date night, and you want to have that ice cream and pizookie, just realize that first, your body can only absorb so many calories, so a lot of it actually just gets passed through as waste. And the other thing too is that, just like what I talked about with the deload period, just look at your cheat meal as kind of like doing an intra-week deload period. So really what's happening, especially if you're doing long-term caloric restriction, is that your body recognizes that, hey, we're not getting enough calories. We need to do something to basically start conserving energy. So it starts going after your muscle. And so by having that cheat meal, it does a couple things. First, it manipulates your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin. So your body sees, hey, we're not starving. It helps replenish your glycogen stores. Glycogen is how your body stores glucose, or your carbs, after it uses it for fuel. And then any excess beyond glycogen is stored as fat. So anyways, once you restore your glycogen stores, your body is like, hey, we're full, we're good. And the other really important thing with this is that you keep your sanity, okay? Because if you are constantly just in a restriction mode, if you are not able to eat the foods you love, at some point you're going to break. And unfortunately, we've seen people that have done this and have gone super restrictive and then returned to old habits. And so that's why I try to teach everybody, allow yourself one meal a week, eat whatever you want, enjoy yourself, and realize by that one meal a week, and this kind of ties into the bigger principle here of the 80-20 rule. If you're dialed in 80% of the time, the 20% you're not, the 80% of the time, you're going to continue to see results. All right, friends, so there you go. There are your 10 tactics for better results with your fitness and nutrition. If you found this helpful, or if there's someone that you think could benefit from this, do me a favor, share this with them. Make sure you comment, leave a 5-star review, get the word out so we can have a bigger impact, change more lives, get more people subscribing to this podcast, and we'll make a bigger impact. All right, friends, that's it. We'll see you at the next episode.